Hey guys, this is Bob. Well, some of you have been asking about Corey Monteith, and you said, Psychic Bob, what's going on with all that? Well, I have to be honest and tell you guys, I really wasn't a follower of Corey or a fan, but his death strikes into me a memory of somebody who I greatly admired from my generation, which was River Phoenix. I did a video a while back. I'll put a link below. But you know, when we see the sudden death of somebody, especially connected to drug addiction or alcohol, it's very sad because we all say, wow, a life cut short. I've seen some of the comments, and some people have said, well, he was a rich, spoiled actor. Why should we have any sympathy? But I want you guys to think about it from a spiritual place. You know, in my work as a psychic, I've met many people over the years who have struggled with addiction. And, you know, they're not bad people. They're people who are trying to make the most out of life. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. But when we look at Corey Monteith, at least when I look at Corey Monteith, I can't help but think back to River Phoenix and how sad I was at his passing. You know, one of the things is, for those of you who know people, some of you are watching, you know people who are struggling with addiction. And those of you who have ever actually directly encountered somebody like that, I think you can agree with me and say, Bob, when they're not in the throes of addiction, they're some of the best people you'd ever meet. Well, I agree with that. And I think that, you know, we have to look at people not with an eye of judgment, but with an eye of compassion. Because it's very easy for us to say, this person did that, that person did that. And really, we should say, therefore the grace of God go I. It's very easy for all of us to, you know, make a judgment. But I think it's much harder to practice compassion. As I'm walking along, I see these beautiful geese here. Can you see them? I'm right up on them. The geese understand the natural order. I think we as people struggle with finding peace within ourselves. As humans, we tend to overthink everything, and our mind gets racing a million miles an hour. For some people, they don't know how to quell that mind. That's why I always teach meditation. Helps us to go within, find inner peace, and release those voices that control us. I think Corey Monteith was an amazingly creative person, a talented person. I think he was a good person. But I think he struggled to find balance. From what I've read, it was a lifelong issue with him. He always struggled finding that balance. Some of you watching may have that similar struggle. The important thing is that you not give up. The important thing is that you try to find that balance. Corey Monteith, I think, wanted to do the right thing. And I think if we look at his life, I've heard a lot of reports of how generous he was to people. When people are in the throes of addiction, they can't see anything but that moment. They've done studies actually on the brain that showed that the addiction controls the brain, and it will over-dominate any other process of the brain. So I think, when people say, oh, well, it was his choice, some degree, yes. But I also think it's an illness. You wouldn't condemn somebody just because they had a heart disease or they had diabetes or they had something like that, some illness. We have to stop thinking of addiction as necessarily somebody just being bad and understand it for how it works through the body-mind chemistry. I'm not a medical expert, but I do know from the little bit I've read, and some of you have written to me, have told me, said, Psychic Bob, I have a family member who struggles with that. Help them, reach out to them, give them love. Corey Monteith, I think, wanted to be loved. I think a lot of people that struggle with this addiction, really what they're saying is they want to be loved, and some part of them, their spirit, knows that there's another realm. They miss that realm. I think they get homesick. You see, whether you believe it or not, we all come from over there. Someday we're all going to go back. But in the meantime, while we're here on Earth, we get caught up in all the dramas. We don't always do things right. We mess up a lot of times. But I think if we look at the heart and we understand, where's your heart? Are you trying? That's how I like to look at people like Corey. I don't see somebody who's evil. I see somebody who's trying. Somebody who wants to do the right thing. But they may not get it right. Anyways, people are saying, Bob, can you do a seance? I'm not going to do that because I think Corey is still adjusting to life in the spirit world. Especially when you die a tragic death. A lot of times you go over there and it takes a little while to acclimatize. A lot of times when people come from the earth, they put them in a deep sleep for a while so they can gradually awaken, so the transition's not such a shock. But we can all send prayers to him and also to his family. Because, a lot of people have been affected by his passing. And we should reach out with compassion. I'm so glad you're here at Spirit Channel. I hope that you guys will keep watching and be part of our scene here. I'm so glad you're here. Anyway, sending blessings to you all.